If you want to hear my first impressions of the Elements Palette by Urban Decay, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène with another video. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you saw the intro and you're saying, you're a little bit late, I would completely concur. And if you have seen my videos before, you would know that I have a love-hate relationship with this palette. Namely, because of its packaging. I have talked about this palette in my packaging pet peeves of trends I want to see gone in 2018. I'll put the link right there. I also have talked about this palette from the perspective of not knowing what to do with it. I actually keep it in the box. And so I think because I kept it in the box, I considered it as a product that I regretted buying when I saw. So the artwork is fantastic. I have no problem with it. It's very creative, lots of different colors. It's quite beautiful. It has a full mirror. Hello. It has a full mirror and it has 19 shadows in it. Now there are a number of things. The shadows, these are not regular size shadows, by the way. This is the only one that would match any of the other kind of standard round shadows in my collection. And so I did not understand that. I understood that for the smaller ring here. I thought this was oversized and I thought these were average size, and I intended to right off the hop depot them. But now that I know how small all of these are, I just don't think I'll depot them. And then I just decided, okay, it's time to start using this, and I did swatches of the palette. So here I had the packaging pet peeves video, I had the palettes I regret video, and now I have swatched this product. I've finally come to it. And you know, sometimes reservations can make us wait to do something for really no good reason other than emotionally we're not ready to do something, if that makes sense. And I find that very much in a product that is not mandatory usage, but usage based on wanting to use it, that emotions have a very big effect on whether we use or don't use products. Well, this one fell squarely in that situation. And if you look behind me, I have two big Urban Decay boxes there. You'll see a ton of boxes from Urban Decay that you may very well recognize on the top corner over here. I really enjoy Urban Decay products. So for me to be sitting on this for so long is absolutely ridiculous. Well, I did the swatches and I was super impressed. You can definitely see that in the swatches video. I became so excited after swatching, and so that's also why swatching is so important, right? It gives you a true view of the shadows that you really can't get from just looking at the pan or the pans. And when I looked at the pans originally, I've opened this palette so many times to look, try not to blind you here. I've opened this palette so many times to look at the colors, and every time I looked at the colors I thought, yeah, what I would expect from Urban Decay, again, not swatching them, and saying, you know, lots of shimmers, only 3 mattes, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't appreciate the uniqueness of some of the colors, and I definitely go through those expressions and the surprise and whatnot in the swatch video. But I did the swatch video. You don't always see the videos come out in the same pace as how I film, which makes sense, right? Editing is another step and whatnot, and then I schedule my videos. I did the swatches in my life. I did the swatches yesterday. And for me to go, usually I have planned to do swatches and then a first impressions pretty much back to back. All I wanted to do was the swatches video and then figure out at some point when I was going to do my first impressions and then kind of put those videos together in a close succession. Well, the swatches video made me film today. So yesterday's experience made me film today. I want to dig into this palette badly. And so I'm kicking myself because I should have done those swatches back in December, frankly. I mean, I should have just dove in or dived into this palette because I've had it for 3 months, basically. So that's what we're going to do today. That's a really long ramble. I'm looking at my camera. I've been talking for minutes now. I want to create a really fun look. These colors will let me do that. I have been debating, do I go with purples? Do I go with pinks? Do I go with browns? And I've done like rusty browns, and I've done a lot in a specific type of color because of my first Quad of the Month series. And I've done, I'll put the link right here. And then I've also just finished up on Cleona Cosmetics, and I don't want to do a lot of those same colors that I have. So I'm looking in here and wanting to be a little different than I have been so far. And there are a number of colors in here that I haven't used as far as type of color. And I think I'm going to go more on the cool tone side. And I'm thinking I'm going to concentrate on this area right here. I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, maybe playing over on this side as well. We'll stay on this side, the top part of the palette. And I do have a base on. I have my Smashbox exposure as usual. This time I have vanilla and grounded in the crease. They're just matte colors, nothing funky or fancy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play with a bunch of these colors on the back of my hand, pairing them up, and come back and tell you what it is exactly that I'm going to deliver on my eyes using this palette today. I think I've got it. Here is the plan. I am going to start off with some of Dreamweaver in the crease. Then I'm going to go with Sapphire Dream, I think it's called. Yeah, Sapphire Dream all over the lid. And I'm going to top Sapphire Dream in the inner and center lid with Ego. And I think that these two will look really well, go really well together. I think that this is a very nice complement. It transforms the Sapphire Dream a little bit. And then if I feel like I want a little extra, I am going to go with Hex Remedy on the lower lash line, probably along with tight lining the blue with a very much a definer brush, and then doing Hex Remedy underneath. That's the plan. And I did do a whole bunch of swatching on my hand, which is something I highly recommend before you start something, just to see how the eyeshadows play together so that you don't end up with a big mess on the eye, which can happen because of color theory and because of the types of shadows they are, the formula of the shadows. They will either blend together or layer on each other, right? So you have to be kind of careful what you do. And so I always love the test drive before putting something on my eye and then kind of going, oh, okay, I guess that's a redo, which always sucks. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also have Annabelle Blackest Black on the upper waterline, and it is giving the Urban Decay Perversion a run for its money. If you've never tried the Annabelle waterline pencils, I have, I think, 6 of them. They are all really good, and sometimes I don't give them the attention they deserve, but I love them. The cream ones for the lower waterline, the brown and the black for the upper waterline, and I also have a nice mint green and a lavender. They work nicely as shadow bases, and they work in the waterline as well. Highly recommend, and they are less than half the regular price. They're less than half the regular price of the Urban Decay Glide On, a 24/7 Glide On. So yeah, I recommend them, and they're a Canadian brand. We are going to start with Dreamweaver. I don't know if you can tell in the pan how weird it is. I swatched it 3 times now, because the first time I swatched it in the swatches video, I kind of went, what kind of a formula is this? It's really weird. I do hope that it applies well with a fluffy brush. It's all 3 mattes in this palette are a little weird. One of them, the middle one, Elemental, is relatively smooth, but Antidote. So Antidote and Element. This one was really weird, and then I thought, okay, that must be an aberration. Then I tried this one. It was a little bit better, but still weird. And then this one is this one is downright funky. So we'll try. That is one where I'm really not sure what's going to happen. And I have to say, the palette is a good size to actually use it as a compact. So I'm going to use the mirror in the palette for doing this. I guess the palette is redeeming itself with interesting shadows and the fact that I can hold it in my hand. So I won't say it yet. I'm just saying it is possible that I was wrong about this palette. Let's get into it. Swatches don't always give you the whole story, do they? It is quite powdery, so I just picked up the powder here and I'm going to go in to intensify what I've done. For a matte that I thought was going to be temperamental, it behaves really well with a fluffy brush. And that's the thing, if you're not sure about how an eyeshadow is going to work, always go with a fluffy brush because the color's not as crazy as if you go right away with more precision. And sometimes I think we want to go in with more precision because we want to say, well, I don't want it all over. What if it goes wrong? I want it here. Well, if it ends up being a disaster, it's going to be an intense disaster as opposed to something that you can kind of correct with a skin color shadow or something like that. I just brought whatever's left on the brush just down here. That is very flattering. I like it. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the other eye, fast forward, and then we'll talk about the next step. I'm going to go in with my angled brush to bring the pink a little bit more into the inner corner because yes, the blue is going to go over, but the way the pink is finishing is not consistent on each eye, so I'm just going to quickly do that. Okay, it feels like the crease and the inner lid are more even on both sides, and I really, really like that. And it's actually made the pink has made the wheat color that is a beige almost look like a peach. It almost looks like a sunset look, and I really, really like that. Now we're going to go into the color that is well beyond my comfort zone, which is the Sapphire Dream color, the blue. Again, this one, that's what we're going to do next, and wish me luck. For that purpose, I'm going to use my flat brush so that I can really layer the color down as I want to on the lid, and I'm going to do the full lid like I did with Raspberry Fudge from the last Cleona look, and I was really impressed by the color. I don't know if it's coming. No, see, it's really deep. Whew. Okay, let's see what happens. Woo. It almost does not pick up on the brush. That is so weird. I'm going to end up using my finger, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to go straight in with my little finger on the inner lid and then my ring finger on the outer lid and just pack on the color because the brush is not working. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So much better. And I just put a blue dot on my forehead. That's awesome. Very intense color. I'm going to do a little bit of a cleanup and then I'll talk to you about what I'm doing next. All right, I am going to try going in with a crease brush to just get the blue and the pink to work together. I think I have enough blue to work with right now. And I'm also going to use the angled brush here to just try to even out the blue on the inner lid. Editing Hélène here, just wanted to point out, as you'll see, I'm going in with the crease brush and take a look at how the shadow is coming off my lid as I just am brushing back and forth. That is not an experience I usually have with shadows, and that just really tells me that Sapphire Dream is a very finicky color. As intense as it can be with the finger, it does come off the eye if we're not careful. That is as far as I'm going to go with that side. I'm going to replicate it on that side and we'll talk about what we do next. I have the blue on both sides and I would highly recommend using only your finger with the Sapphire Dream. I used a brush on this side, ended up getting fallout that I don't know if you can tell the difference between the two eyes, but this one has a bit of a blue tone here because the Sapphire Dream is so pigmented that it ended up staining the under eye. So I'm going to have to fix my makeup a little bit when I'm done with this. And yeah, I still have a lot of blue right here. I don't know if you can see it. And on the other side, I barely have any fallout. So that is definitely a learning curve on Sapphire Dream. And my fingers on this side are stained. And you can see just how intense the color is on those two fingers I used to apply on this eye. So yeah, lesson learned. I'm going to do a little bit of a cleanup with the Q-tip down here on both sides, get rid of any fallout because I'm worried about it just ruining my makeup further, and we're going to go in for next step. I am back. If the space under my eye looks whiter than usual, I have put extra powder because that blue caused a lot of cleanup and I just wanted to spare myself future grief. And it's the first time ever that I have powdered under my eye like that to do an eyeshadow, so it just tells you how much that blue is intense. And I have washed my hands twice and there's still a ton of eyeshadow on my hand, so wow. I want to add back some of the pink because it looks like when I tried to put the blue in the crease, all I did was take the pink away. It's very strange. I don't have that issue here, but I didn't work it into the crease here, only on that side. So I think I'm going to go back with, what's it called, Dreamweaver, and just fix the crease on that side. And I have a feeling that it's more Dreamweaver than the blue that caused Dreamweaver to disappear because I really am very confused about this matte. And I'm just going to add a little bit of pink on that side just to even them out. And at this point, the look is so bold, I think I'm going to take some of the pink and bring it down on the lower lash line. Sapphire Dream is definitely a finger eyeshadow because it doesn't stay on the brushes, but it stays on the finger really well. So it's a different, an interesting and different formula in my opinion. Dreamweaver is also a different formula, but I'm not sure it's in a good way. And I think it softens the blue a little bit. I think might even add a little bit more. Dreamweaver over Sapphire Dream does not seem to cause as much issue as Sapphire Dream over Dreamweaver. So a lot of dreaming going on apparently. I like the effect enough. I'm going to intensify Dreamweaver on the inner lid. Okay, that is where we're at. I still like the sunset effect here. It looks really good. Okay. All right. We are going to go into Ego, which was the third color I wanted to use. And what I wanted to do was use Ego as a topper for Sapphire from the inner lid to center lid. I think that that is going to be a nice effect. It looks like they layer very well, at least from what I could see on my hand. And I'm going to, again, just use finger to do that. Let's get into it. I'll do both eyes and then we can talk. I'll just fast forward the whole thing. I think you've seen enough applications, so let's go right in. Wow, they really do work together nicely. They really meld into one another. That's fantastic. It almost makes the Sapphire Dream look like a duochrome. I really enjoy it. Or vice versa, Ego look like a duochrome. I really like this effect. It is exactly as I had hoped it would be. Now the question is, well, first off, I should do a brow bone and inner corner highlight. The question is what I do with my lower lash line. I'm more inclined now, based on seeing what Sapphire Dream is like, I don't think that brushing it on the lower lash line will work at all. I'm going to get a ton of fallout. That's a given based on my experience so far, and it's really hard to use fingers to do lower lash line. So I'm going to take a look at the eyeliner pencils that I have in a kind of a deep blue, and we'll see what we do with that. I'm going to look first off in my Urban Decay liners and see what my options are, and I'll be right back. I have a bunch of liners here to show you, all sorts of different purples and blues, and let's just go from one end to the other. So I have Asphyxia, Psychedelic Sister, Voodoo, Ransom, UVB, I second guessed myself and I was right, Deviant, and the last one is Goddess, and it has blue shimmer in it that you can only catch in the right light. So I think that because Goddess is blue, but it's mostly black, I'm going to eliminate that one. I am really thinking that Deviant would be good in the waterline. And then the question is, what else would I use underneath? And I think I'm going to go, oof, it's really hard. I think I'm going to go with Voodoo. So I'm going to use Deviant and Voodoo. So the very bright blue and then this third purple here. As you can see, I am back. I did use Deviant on my lower waterline. I used Voodoo underneath on my lower lash line. The only thing I really have is Dreamweaver underneath, but I think that's enough. It does give the gradient similar to the gradient up on the upper lid, so I'm really satisfied with those two. I ended up just deciding to finish up the look because, frankly, it just seemed like unnecessary hiccups. So here is what I used. I used Fierce Flicks for my wing. I did quite a chunky wing. I'm okay with that. I think it goes with the look. I mean, it's a chunky look, it's a chunky wing. It goes together. And then I finished up with a ton of, well, a ton. It's 1.5 coats, I would say, of the Stila Huge. And my lashes do feel huge when I use this mascara. It is officially, I think, becoming my favorite. And for the lip, I was thinking of going with Pandemonium, which is a purple, but I just thought that was just going to be just a little too much. Can I say just one more time? Just a little bit too much. And I used Backtalk. Did I put it back? I did have it. It was just behind the camera and I couldn't see it. So this is what I used on my lips, and Backtalk liquid lipstick or bullet lipstick is very well known from Urban Decay, so I thought I would put it on. And I think it goes really well with Dreamweaver. So I'm happy with it. It does dry down a little bit darker than it does in the, it looks like in the tube, but I find Backtalk very flattering on quite a few people because it's just this dusty rose. I think it looks good. And the last thing I applied, just to let you know, is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. I figure I have a kind of classic Urban Decay, grungy, pretty look on, and I mean, what I mean by grungy is like it's a lot of color, and so it's not, you know, what somebody would call office appropriate, but it's fun. It's fun. And I really enjoy it. I forgot the brow bone and the inner corner highlight. I'm not done. Sorry, guys. Let's go back into this. We're going to get to use another color. What was I thinking? All right, let's just go plain and simple. We are going to go with Electric Air. This one right here. I am not with it today. I'm going to use just a slightly fluffier flat brush going into Electric Air right onto the brow bone. There we go. Oh, one thing I did as well off camera is I did take off that extra powder that I had under my eyes. Thought I should mention that. Let's just do the inner corner. Okay, that shows up okay. So let's just do the other side. Now, I'm sure it would show up even better wet, but I don't tend to like wetting my shadows. To each his own. I think I'm going to go just a little bit more. Okay, now we have a final look. Thank you for your patience today. It was, putting this look on was a process. Or as I've heard before, a process. And I thank you very much for sticking with me throughout this video. I hope you found something useful, or at least were entertained by this interesting palette that I will be playing with from Urban Decay for the next little while. Elements has given me playtime and piqued my interest, which is, I think, the more eyeshadows that you try and the more brands and the more colors, it's easy to start kind of going, yep, whatever, yep, whatever. But this one got me really curious, and so did, by the way, the Violet Voss. I have swatched that one as well, and but in very, very different ways, they got me excited. So that's good to have stuff in your collection that keeps you or gets you initially excited and hopefully keeps you excited is great because it sparks creativity, I think. So that's it for this first impressions of the Urban Decay Elements Palette. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. Entertainment value at the very least. I thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.